Hallo und herzlich willkommen in Freiburger Hauptbahnhof. Das ist der Bayern München Podcast und heute haben wir das Konzept der Pünktlichkeit, um das Spiel am Sonntag zu diskutieren. I'm just kidding. It's Sebastian Bautista. Sebastian, how are you?
Hi, sir. I'm quite excited for my second appearance in the podcast.
Right, the first time we talked about food, and now we're talking about something else that you really like, football.
Yeah, football.
Absolutely. So Sunday was the Champions League final, and I mean we both watched it.
Yes, sure.
The bare minimum for the
Mhm.
podcast, we
Yeah.
watched it. But before we talk about the game, if we think about before the game, what were your ideas of what would happen in the match?
I think both teams can have a good season with all their players giving all of them. But I think that Bayern Munich have a little bit of an advantage because of being like what they were on the season.
Absolutely, I agree. I think that a lot of the times people before the final hyped up PSG with Mbappe, Neymar, and Di Maria, and obviously they're fantastic players. But when you get to play against the elite teams in the world, I think having great players is really important. But what's more important, I think, is having a really strong team.
Yeah, sure. I think that Bayern Munich has more like a round of a team than only good players.
Absolutely. It was unfortunate that because of the coronavirus situation,
Yeah.
PSG lost Cavani and lost Meunier before everything that was happening in Portugal,
Yes.
which was unfortunate. But I still think it was, it was still very difficult for PSG, I think, to have sort of got through Bayern. And as we saw in the match, that was sort of what happened.
Yeah. It was like on the first time of the match, you can see both of them giving all of them. But the second time, you see like PSG depend a lot of Neymar, and Neymar came like kind of stressed, and that play bad for the PSG.
Absolutely, I agree. I think that when I was watching the game, you can see even from the sort of when Bayern had the ball with Neuer, you could see
Yeah.
that all of the combinations that they played, all of the first and the last combinations they played, they were all really set out. So constantly you'd see Neuer passing to Alaba, Alaba back to Neuer, Neuer to Alphonso Davies, and then Davies to Thiago. And that was
Yeah.
every single time Bayern started with the ball, it would be that same play. And a team that is sort of drilled as a team would be able to work that out and try and stop them. Whereas I think PSG, because they were so much about being the individuals, they didn't really have an answer. Because the answer to that can't come with individuals; it has to come with a team.
Yeah, I think that PSG was too focused on giving the ball to Mbappe and Neymar, and the difficulty that Bayer knew that and blocked the spaces and don't leave Neymar and Mbappe alone was was difficult for PSG.
Absolutely. And you could tell by sort of 70, 80 minutes, Neymar getting so frustrated, which really didn't help.
He like start playing like focusing on something else than the match.
Absolutely. Yeah. And also you could tell he was trying to do everything. He was trying to be everywhere. and he was trying to control everything. Whereas, sort of, if you look at Lewandowski, Lewandowski trusted everyone else to work with him, and he being able to receive the ball and give the ball and whatnot. Whereas Neymar, it looked like he wanted to do everything.
Yeah, I think that he feel like all the pressure was on his shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
So that when you get to the match, I am not a professional player, but I think I know what is like being on that situation, and
The
it's not good.
playing with the yellow team
Yeah,
in the mid games.
and the Olympic Games.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're going to talk about our sort of the players of the match, who we thought were the best players of the match. And
Okay.
it's interesting that both of us have picked Bayern players, right? Even though
Yeah.
it was a 1-0 game, sometimes in a 1-0, players from the losing team play really well. But there was no one really in PSG that stood out as playing really well.
Yeah. Like I think that PSG, like their players, do a good job, but e- even the Bayern Munich players do it best.
Hmm.
So they kind of put apart the PSG players.
Yes, absolutely. I think it was very interesting at the first half. So we're going to go on to our best players of the match. The best player for me was a midfielder for Bayern Munich, and the fact that sort of PSG left the midfield so open. It was sort of 7 people defending and 3 people waiting for the ball, at least in the first half. And it got results. I think in the first half, PSG had the best opportunities.
Yes.
Um,
But in some situation, here comes my best player of the
mhm.
match, Manuel Neuer. I think he do a remarkable job in. Think there was 2 1v1 situation that
Mhm.
he got, and even I think there was a third one that was eliminated because of an offside.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I agree. And even so, I think a lot of the times when we look at a goalkeeper playing, it's very easy to say, "Oh, well, that save was easy because it was right at him," right?
Yeah.
But so there was right at the end of the first half, Mbappe had a cutback and fired straight at Manuel Neuer. And you could say, well, Mbappe didn't do a very good job there. But Neuer, knowing exactly the best place to be to receive that shot, is
Yeah,
something that you
like
can't.
being on Mbappe situation and with Manuel Neuer that is huge.
Mhm.
He's huge when he opens his arms. It's difficult, and I think it's more remarkable the job that um, Neuer did that the mistake that could be made by Mbappe.
Absolutely. And I also think, having played some football, not again like you, in no way, not even close to a Champions League final, but when you play with a goalkeeper that is so good, it makes you nervous,
Yeah,
and it
I
makes
was
you
like,
think, I don't know how we're going to score.
even on the mid games when you are in a 1v1, you
Mhm.
get.
Absolutely. So, going sort of back a bit to talk about my man of the match. We talked a bit about Neuer being sort of the rock at the back. I would say that sort of the midfield sort of general was Thiago Alcantara in this game. Um, I I was thinking about this podcast when I was watching the game and thinking about who, sort of halfway through the first half, I was thinking, who is the best player on the pitch right now? And Neuer was obviously somebody that I thought of. And then I thought about Thiago. And I was looking at Thiago through the whole of the rest of the game. And the only time that Thiago lost the ball, it was a foul.
It was a foul, yes.
The um, Bayern Munich's goal was a great cross from Kimmich, but But the ball, the pass from Diallo, that was from behind his halfway line to Kimmich on the right, just got rid of everybody. Right?
Yeah,
It
I
was
think
such a
that
good ball.
Thiago was too confident on what he was doing. And you see on the match that he was always giving orders to the other ones. Till also when he was sent out, he was changed.
Yeah, he was
He was,
substituted.
yeah, he was giving orders from the bench.
Right, absolutely, and I mean we're going to talk about sort of next year in a bit, but whoever signs Diallo, because he's leaving Bayern Munich, whoever is able to sign Diallo, I
Yeah.
mean they have got an absolutely wonderful player.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
like the so being a fan of Arsenal, I know a bit about Spanish midfielders from looking at Cesc Fabregas.
Yeah.
And what Cesc Fabregas always said was the thing about being in midfield is you need to know what you're going to do before you receive the ball, right? You can't receive the ball and then look, because in midfield you have 1 or 2 seconds and then somebody is on you.
Oh, yes.
And I think the thing about most good midfielders, they know what they're going to be doing before they receive the ball. Thiago knows what he's going to do before he gets on the pitch.
Yeah, I think he's really good at delivering the ball and making all the team play. Like he's not going only to just giving names Davies or Lewandowski. He's going through all the team.
Absolutely. And going back to when we were talking about PSG and the difference between PSG and Bayern, the fact that Bayern are so much of a team, Thiago knows exactly where everyone is going to be able to do those incredible passes, and even the short passes that he receives, and is able to turn and give it off to somebody, just constantly keeping the ball moving. It's just fantastic.
Yes. Like I said, he made all the team play.
Absolutely. So, well, we know that Thiago is leaving
Maybe
Bayern
to
Munich,
Liverpool. Maybe
probably
to
going to
Liverpool.
Liverpool. Probably
Yeah.
going to Liverpool. PSG have already lost Meunier, and they've lost Cavani, and they've lost Thiago Silva, who's probably going to Chelsea. Um, we need to look about. Well, we need to look at next year. Who do you think, and why, is going to win the Champions League next year?
We're going into a difficult situation right now. But I think that it might be, I think PSG will be a good option because at the end of the match, you see Neymar crying, but the heck was like proud of him. He was like confident of the like the process that maybe next year or next year they will be accomplishing the Champions League.
Right. I would agree with you. I think that you saw with Liverpool 2 years ago, they lost in the final, and it gave them the drive to win it the next year. Um, but I can't see PSG losing Thiago Silva, especially Thiago Silva. I can't see them being able to replace him and changing the team, the tactics of the team so much that they're able to beat the big teams. I can't see them winning next year. I mean, as you said, maybe the year after next.
Yeah, but like football is football, and we always get surprises. So maybe the one who replaced Thiago could be and could deliver a better job than him.
Well, absolutely. We don't know. I mean, the future is full of surprises, as you said.
Yeah,
I would say that if Liverpool are able to strengthen with Thiago, with another striker, they were going to sign Timo Werner, but obviously Chelsea signed him. they're probably going to get another striker. If they're able to do that, I cannot see, barring, as you said, any surprises, I cannot see Liverpool not being at least in the final. They've got, I would say, one of the top 5 goalkeepers in the world. They have the best defender in the world. They have one of the best wingers in the world. They have probably the best coach in the world.
Like, it's kind of a comparison between Liverpool and Bayern Munich because you see good players, but you also see a round team.
Yes.
You see that all the team play together, and like they don't believe in that this player must have a good match for we to win. You know.
I agree. I mean, you even look at Jordan Henderson. 5 years ago, Jordan Henderson was in England seen as a very average midfielder. He was seen as sort of, he's fine. Now at Liverpool, in the system that he's playing, he's fantastic. It's not. It's as you said. It's not about having the best players. It's about being the most rounded, balanced team.
Yeah.
And that's why Liverpool are going to win the Champions League. You heard it here first.
Maybe. I have a friend called Jorge Santisteban that might be seeing the podcast that went to Zidane to revive the Real Madrid, but we were going to see.
Yeah, I think that Real Madrid are a great team, but I think there's a lot of problems with both Real Madrid and with Barcelona. I think Real Madrid were very lucky to win La Liga this year. Right. Their team isn't very good.
It's not a run of a team in comparison to the Bayern or Liverpool.
Absolutely, but as you said, football is full of surprises. These things can happen. We never know. So thank you very much, Sebastian, for joining us on the podcast. It was lovely to talk to you. Slightly longer than before.
Very long before.
Yeah, and well, hopefully you can come back and we can talk about something else.
Yeah.
And if you would like to be on the podcast, talking about 2 different things in 2 different occasions, write to the Mick Instagram page. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the MickTube channel, leave a comment on Instagram. Share it with all your friends to Jorge Santisteban. And thank you very much, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.